WeInfuse Podcast, Episode 75. Welcome to the WeInfuse Podcast. My name is Amanda Brummett. In every episode, we give you a seat at the table with Infusion Center leaders so you can get the insight you need to run a thriving practice. Today, I'm joined by Gibran Ameer, PharmD, Chief Executive Officer of VirtueTechnologies, the company behind VirtueScript. In this conversation, he shares how juggling multiple portals for distributors, carriers, and couriers slows clinics down and why shipment visibility matters more than people think. We dig into how the new VirtueScript integration with WeInfuse is designed to import shipment data, create and return proof of delivery, and drop audit-ready documentation back into your WeInfuse workflow. Let's jump in. Well, Gibran, thank you so much for being here with us today. I would love it if we could start by you just sharing who you are personally and professionally.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. We're really excited to do this podcast with WeInfuse. I'm Gibran Ameer, much like the founders of WeInfuse. I've been in the space quite a bit, both as a provider as well as a technologist. I'm a pharmacist by trade, graduated from University of South Carolina, and have provided care both in the infusion as well as the specialty space, which is the market that I cater to as a technologist. A lot of what we've done at Virtue has really come out of our particular needs and some of the pain that we have experienced as providers. It seems that the technology that has been out there in the past hasn't really had the providers in mind. So our goal here is to really ease some of the burdens that providers have while ensuring and delivering quality care to the patients that we serve.
Incredible. I love that you approach it from the provider's view. It sets you up beautifully. How did you land on infusion? How did you find yourself in the infusion industry?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question. When I was doing my internships in pharmacy school, the last year, which would be the sixth year of school, I did a internship with Lexmo Home Therapies, and they offered me a job after I graduated. So that's how I started as a infusion pharmacist, all the way back in 2003.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that beautiful accident happened because it sounds
Yeah.
like you've added a lot to the industry since then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a little bit of a journey, all the way from working at Lexmo to owning in a pharmacy that's catered to the mental health specialty space and long-term care, all the way through to where we are today.
Yeah. And then what would you say is your main area of expertise and what do you want listeners to learn from that today?
Well, for Virtue as a whole, our expertise is really comes down to managing closed door operations and the logistics associated with them, right? A lot of the pharmacies and what people traditionally think about pharmacies as, oh, CVS, Walgreens, I go to my local pharmacy and pick up whatever medication I'm utilizing. But there's this entire segment of pharmacy that is dedicated to, what we would call closed door shops in the industry, right? So they're dedicated to specialty care or specialty needs of patients. So that may be in long-term care. It may be in home infusion. It could be in mail order specialty. It could be in mail order. In a lot of cases, ambulatory infusion centers or physician-based infusion centers. So there's this entire segment of the population that are receiving medication from a central place distributed to a home or institution or a site of administration. And a lot of the pharmacy management systems have fallen short in terms of their ability to manage that logistics, right? So they do a great job in adjudicating claims, making sure drug utilization is proper, making sure there aren't any side effects, all the things that you would traditionally consider as a proper dispensing system. Where these solutions have fallen short in the past is what happens when I've handed someone a delivery ticket and the drug and go, okay, get it to the person, right? So that's been a struggle, and in a lot of cases, is the largest source of bad debt for these pharmacies. So even as a provider, we were always chasing paper and to ensure that we were compliant with our boards of pharmacies, our accrediting body, and then ultimately the payer, right? So what Virtue does, it it strives to be interoperable, right? So that means that we're pulling out the delivery tickets from the pharmacy management system, and we are dropping them into the appropriate last mile carrier. So that might be mail. It could, so that's FedEx, UPS, Postal Service, right? It could be a courier. So we're integrated with a ton of courier operations. So we're delivering that delivery ticket to a courier. Or in some cases, we are utilizing the VirtueTrack application, which is our own homegrown application for institutions that have their own drivers. So in a lot of cases, these pharmacies are utilizing some or all of the above, right? So that means you have to go into the FedEx portal, UPS portal, you have to go into the courier portal, whatever that might be.
Yeah, that sounds
So
terrible. I don't want
oh
to
yeah,
log into any of those.
it's incredibly disjointed, right? So, and then you don't, because there's lack of interoperability between the pharmacy management system, and the individual carriers or last mile solutions. When you're asked, okay, where or who, or how did the shipment occur? You have to go on a hunt, right, to figure that out. So what Virtue does, it imports all of that information from every single delivery ticket from the pharmacy management system based on the requested shipping method. We push it out to the individual or the requested shipper, right? So we import the information from Virtue into our solution. We take that solution. We take that we import the delivery ticket rather into our solution. We take that delivery ticket and push it out to appropriate place. And after that, what occurs is the delivery happens. And from there, we go out to the respective carriers and pull that proof of delivery back in. And so there's no longer this manual process of putting orders in and pulling delivery tickets out to put back into your pharmacy management system. So we do all that electronically. So removing all the friction associated with that. And once that delivery occurs and we pull that back in, we take the delivery ticket and proof of delivery and we marry them together. And when you marry those two together, we are able to have a compliant document, and we drop it back into the pharmacy management system. And that pharmacy management system allows for us to do several things, confirm the ticket, sometimes drop the bill, depending on the level of integration that we have. So we have the number 3 cost, right, which is the logistics part, delivering a pharmacy's number 1 cost. And then the claim associated with that drives the entire business, right? So that's how you run a business, right? You have to have the ability to bill for the services that you've rendered, collect, and keep your money, right? So that's the purpose of Virtue, and why we started. A big part of our bad debt when I was an operator was related to lack of proof of delivery and audits and things of that nature. So our goal here is really to remove all of the friction and streamline the processes for these pharmacies. And there's a lot of additional, I would say, unintended benefits. So our first priority obviously was the claim, right? But what we've seen is feasibility of the pharmacy to find these transactions, so they're able to render customer service in a more efficient manner. The ability to drop a claim faster speeds up the revenue cycle, right? The ability to message patients to let them know that their package is on the way, or here's your tracking number so you could self-serve, has reduces phone calls for these pharmacies, right? So we have some incredibly tangible and hard ROIs, but then we have all the soft ones that you can't really put a figure on. That improves the quality of care being rendered to these patients. It also improves the quality for the technicians that are serving these patients, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so, for anybody that doesn't already know or understand this, what happens in all the other scenarios? Are the drugs lost? Are they riding around on a truck for so many days that they're no longer good? Are you getting them, but you just don't have that proof?
Yeah. So in a lot of cases, the carriers do a good job, right? They're able to make the deliveries, right? But their staff at the pharmacy has to go and manually drop the orders into the carrier solution. Then they have to go manually pull the proof of delivery out. And then if the package is at risk, they have no visibility to it, right? Because the systems are sort of disparaged and not connected, and nothing's talking to each other. And as a result, there's lost deliveries, and you don't know it until after the person calls you and tells you I haven't received their meds, right? So
Yeah.
we have a care issue as well. We have a loss of goods issue, which is a revenue issue, right?
Hmm.
And then or cost of goods is adds to your losses or impacts your profitability. And then when in a lot of cases the deliveries occur, but you may not get that piece of paper back to make you to ensure your compliance, right?
Mm.
So you have the ability or risk of being dinged by your auditor, or by a board or by accreditation. And then those are good things, right? They're in a lot of cases it leads to additional resources being spent at the pharmacy to sort of rectify
Yeah.
or ensure it doesn't happen again, for a lack of a better way of saying that. But it leads to processes that are more reactive versus proactive, where this is a proactive solution that has really, really solid results.
Yeah. Most
Yep.
definitely. So, is this the biggest challenge you've run across in infusion, or are there other things from your experience that you'd pull on that you would say,
It's not the biggest challenge. There's, these pharmacies have challenges associated with reimbursement. They have to deal with their PBMs. They have
Mhm,
to deal with storage and things of that nature.
mm,
But we feel that this is a solvable problem,
yeah,
and it's something that we could, easily impact,
right.
because there's quality logistics solutions out there, but it seemed like no one was really doing it for pharmacy in a sort of more cohesive, all-inclusive way.
Mhm,
There's great solutions if you just courier your medications. There are great solutions if you just ship your medications. But the majority of pharmacies that we deal with are
yeah.
doing some level or a hybrid of all of these things. So it seems that there was not a full solution for everyone. So we've thought, okay, this is an easy solve. We should fix it, right? Everyone's used to Amazon. Your package is on your door and there's a
Yep,
picture of it. And within 5 minutes of it being delivered, it's on my app.
yep,
So, and I know that it's been done. We offer that same experience, right? So within, 5 minutes for a carrier or courier style delivery, we're able to deliver a geostamp and a picture back into the proof of delivery, and it shows back up into the pharmacy management system. So if anyone inquires, and we've had instances where a package has been left across the street or on 331 Chapin Road versus 331 Chapin Way, right?
mhm,
That's a prime example. I get a lot of packages at the office from 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 residents, right? That are not that have Chapin in the name. So being able to know that your package has been delivered and you look outside your door and it's not there, and you're relying on a biologic or something that is pretty important, you are able to call or contact that pharmacy immediately. They're able to look at a geosam and said, "Oh, you know what? We left it here," and they could reroute the courier and go grab
mhm,
it, or the person usually goes and gets it, or whatever that resolution is. But that visibility is incredible knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And one of the big things that we've recognized and why we continue to partner, right? So our partners are really the driving force
Mhm.
for the last mile, right? So
Mhm.
one of the big things that we've done just a few weeks ago is that we signed a partnership with Value Point Logistics, which is VPL. And this is particularly interesting for the specialty and particularly the ambulatory infusion center space, is because not only do they have incredible rates through some of the contracts that they have with UPS and FedEx, but
Mhm.
they have a recovery process.
Oh,
So,
nice.
for example, if a central fill is shipping or mailing something through FedEx to an AIC, and what they do is they monitor it, and if they identify that package is at risk, right, meaning that it's stuck in a hub, or there's a weather issue, or there's a pending weather issue, they will go to they have pull the package and deliver it to the the point of administration, and
Wow.
or they may go and pull the package and courier it, right? So there's all sorts of interventions that they do, and what that will allow is for our central fill pharmacies and the ambulatory operations to have comfort in mailing, right? Because in some cases these packages are worth north of $100,000 per box, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then are there medications that need to be temperature controlled that you guys
They
work with?
are.
Okay. And
Yes.
then I assume this process helps that dramatically.
Yeah, 100%. All of the as the patient's need, as the manufacturers require certain level of temperature control, heat, things of that nature, the carriers do a great job of that, and we have rules that are 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 typically done on the front end during the import process so that the shipper that is actually, you know, doing the shipment or, packaging is aware that this has to go priority overnight, 10 a.m., as opposed to, hey, I could send it today.
Mhm.
So there's definitely uh, safeguards and controls put in place for temperature sensitive items.
Fantastic. And then what about across your experience? What would you say has been your biggest light bulb moment, either as a clinician or as a business owner?
Well, I think the biggest light bulb moment is that you can't really expect someone else to do it for you. So that was one of the big things that that I recognized. It's like, oh, well, I have all these wants and desires as a provider, and in some cases the priorities are just not in line, right? So, for me personally, as well as if I wanted to be impactful, I could be impactful to a relatively small community. You know, where Virtue is impactful to hundreds of thousands of people on a monthly basis, right? So, we're managing quite a number of deliveries, quite a number of patients during the course of any given month. So our projections are that we're moving something a little bit north of $2 billion worth of drugs a month, and through one of our solutions or the other, and impacting several hundred thousand patients on a monthly basis as well. So,
Yeah.
and from really small institutions, one location shops to some shops that are 53, 54 locations.
I really appreciate about your personality that your light bulb moment
Yeah,
after you figured out if you want something fixed, you have to do it yourself, that
yeah,
then you turned around and decided to fix it for everybody else. So
yeah,
good job.
yeah. Well, it's you could go broke fixing things yourself, so
That
for
is true.
yourself. So
Very
it's
true.
and we did. So initially, what we did is we fixed this for one customer that we had. So and it was okay. They were initially going to use it as a competitive advantage. we have this thing that is better than whatever else is out in the marketplace when it comes to, and it would be a differentiator. We were able to convince those the folks that initially built the product or commissioned the build of this product that it has commercial value and it could be helpful to the entire industry. Why have that as a competitive advantage when it should be the industry standard? Why help the 10,000 patients that you're servicing when we could help millions of patients, right? It all, hence the name Virtue. The name isn't by accident, right? So having a little bit higher calling when it comes to how we, the pursuit of of pharmacy, right? It's to be there for all folks, not just ourselves.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a VirtueScript WeInfuse integration. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about that and talk about bringing it to more people?
Yeah, absolutely. So the VirtueScript integration is been long in the making, particularly with WeInfuse diving into the home infusion space, right? That's where we have cut our teeth, and where a majority of our customers is in the home infusion space. And now it's a big part of specialty. And then I'll speak a little bit to how we plan to impact the AICs and physician-based infusion centers that WeInfuse serve. So the goal through this integration with WeInfuse, and we had our first customer go live with it on Monday
Yay.
last week, so a week ago. And it's really to import those delivery tickets, normalize the information, and push it out to the appropriate carrier, pull back that proof of delivery, drop it back into WeInfuse, and give these pharmacies an audit-proof document that is compliant, and give those pharmacies visibility. So no longer the paper, and the return on investment for these pharmacies are incredible. In many cases, they'll see 4 to 7 times the return on their investment with us. In addition to that, the first pharmacy that has gone live, we are in the process of managing and working out the workflow between for on the AIC side of the house, where central fill operations that are mailing or couriering, we will give them visibility in that transfer process. So managing the packing of the box, shipping of that box, where the delivery occurs, who signs for it, pulling back that proof of delivery, and then putting that proof of delivery into in each individual chart of the items that were delivered, right? And then WeInfuse picks it up on the administration and the sign off at administration of that product by each individual patient. So we're really filling that gap in the middle of on a future state, which we will have ready probably in a quarter or two.
That's really exciting. And tell me, how does it differ from home infusion to ambulatory and physician office?
The concept is the same. The only difference is the origin and sort of the nomenclature utilized, right?
Okay.
So the import process is identical. The pushing out to the appropriate carrier or courier is identical. It's what you do with a group of deliveries or group of patients at one institution versus a patient at their individual site or individual home, right? And that concept is not new. The long-term care concept, that we just are basically applying it to the ambulatory infusion space, where you have a central organization, and you may have oncology centers or AICs or whatever that will serve a group of patients on an appointment basis, and we're grouping. We have that association between the group of patients, and then the origin and of the order, and then the ultimate administration site. So they're very similar. A lot of it has to just do with where the patient resides and what has to occur in order to meet those compliance standards.
Sure. That makes sense and is really exciting.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you most excited about right now in the infusion industry?
There's quite a bit of consolidation. I'm not necessarily excited about that, but what typically comes out of consolidation is that folks are striving for efficiencies, right? They're striving for a better mousetrap, typically. And whenever we're able to have that type uh, of market conditions,
Mhm.
it's typically good for growth. It's typically good for reaching more people. And we are at this point after about we're 6 years into this. We're at a point now where when we're in the market or we're talking to people, they now know who we are. Where 3 or 4 years ago, no one cared. So it's really nice to go to a show and you know some really large distributors, which I won't name here, come up to you and say, "Okay, we need to get together because we have to figure out how to work together."
Oh,
So,
wow.
where I've been chasing them for years and now they're they're chasing us. So,
Nice. Very nice. Any particular specialties or drugs or anything like that that you're really jazzed about?
no, not particularly. There's so many coming out so quickly. That is really driving our adoption on the specialty and the ambulatory side of things, just because the way those items are administered, right? It opens up an entire new market for us. And we're building solutions specifically for these specialty pharmacies to help them with with this particular use case.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. Well, if you had just one last piece of advice for infusion center owners and operators, what would it be?
Don't get stuck in the traditional pharmacy mindset, right?
Hmm.
Pharmacists are not known to be innovators. And take the time to assess sort of where you'd like to be and go for it, right? It's a sometimes there's a little risk and folks are not necessarily comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So it's important for you to say, okay, well, even if it's a pilot or if it's a, hey, what are you doing? Don't be afraid to at least ask your neighbor that is that is taking strides to improve their operations, because the consequences are surprisingly good in a lot of cases, right? Your patients are going to be happier, your staff's going to be happier, right? Chances are they're going to be happier because they're going to be fulfilled in the quality of their operation.
Yeah, that is great advice. So I'm curious now, what do you think inspired you to have the guts to innovate?
Mm, Let's see. What inspired me to have the guts to innovate? I think a lot of it just has to do with I've always sort of been an entrepreneur in
Mm.
terms of mindset, not necessarily venturing out on my own in some cases, but but the willingness to explore the what could be, because a lot of what we have built is comes out of the pain that is around us, right? So,
Yeah.
and pain might be a little bit harsh of a word, but it's the inconveniences and the struggles that my staff of 53 were experiencing that
Mhm.
had solvable solutions, but no one was doing it. So,
Fabulous. Well, great advice. Thank you for your time. Thank you for innovating and thank you for not holding that just for the project you were working on and sharing it with the rest of the world.
yeah, I appreciate our partnership with WeInfuse and look forward to it being impactful to their customer base.
That was a great conversation with Gibran Ameer of Virtue Technologies. Key takeaways to bring back to your team: reduce portal hopping by unifying shipment and carrier data, Tighten proof of delivery so address errors do not become patient delays, and document early so audits are simpler. Gibran also highlighted how the VirtueScript integration with WeInfuse can import carrier details, generate delivery tickets, return proof of delivery, and normalize data back into your WeInfuse record. Speaking of which, if you're not already familiar with WeInfuse and RX Toolkit, I encourage you to give both a test drive. They can save you time and money in your practice. My name is Amanda Brummett. I'll catch you in the next episode.